That's going to be joining us going to be happy.
Bucks and Brews, back with you again. Mike's in studio today. It's the baseball special. We're starting it a little early because we are excited about baseball and we wanted to talk about our sponsor for today. Some people might join us while we're on here, and feel free if you want to call in, you can call in.
Our person right now.
The professor's here.
The professor is here.
Hi, Professor.
He's
Hey,
still
how's it
connecting
going?
to audio. Professor, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Doing very, very well.
I mean,
Good.
we've had Mike join us, but this is our first time ever having a returning guest of somebody we've done full interview for. So I think we just made top shelf at this point.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't scare me off too bad. And hey, I got to let you know, I've got a couple new techno gadgets I'm trying out. So if the audio or the, well, I'll let you know if the sound peters out. I've got these things stuck in my ears like some goddamn cyborg.
If
But,
you upscale us, we'll let you know so that way we can tone it down a bit, just because we don't want to get put to shame.
And I've got an old school microphone too that I'm trying to use too. So
we have a new school microphone.
yeah, well, this is one I bought like 20 years ago and I modified it to get it to work with the computer. So, hey, it looks like it's working.
The only thing they're missing right now is a boom mic operator, just his underwear.
Seriously, in pink underwear.
Pink underwear.
So I want to give a shout out to our sponsor this week, Ailbird.
Huge shout out.
Has sponsored us with their CPBP and other stouts for uplifting beerologists. So shout out to them in my Bucks and Brews mug.
Of course.
Very happy about that.
Oh, that's really good.
I'm wearing my baseball hat because it's baseball day, so I went with the Kansas City Monarchs.
Of course, I went with my Detroit Tigers because that's my team through and through.
I've got my Louisville Slugger bat that I bought at the Louisville Slugger factory a few years ago. That's my
Nice.
There you
prop.
go.
I don't have the baseball hat, but I've got the Abbott and Costello, who's on first.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one.
I'm honestly quite excited about my shirt too.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And an old baseball film aficionado definitely understands the humor behind that.
Yes, they do. So I got a full agenda. I know Nick's gonna have to join some of this from the car, which is a bummer, but
Okay.
let's jump right in because we're Bucks and Brews.
That's fact. It seems like we're talking about shirts.
So we kind of got to talk financials first. So some ways to save money at games, and then I want to hit one of the more controversial aspects of baseball and salaries.
Yeah.
So ways to save money at a game. So I know for me, big Cubs fan, love going to Wrigley Field, and they instituted this well after Mike and I stopped going, regularly. You can now bring in food and drink to Wrigley Field. You could always bring like water bottles that were sealed,
Sure.
but now you can bring in any food or drink as long as it's not alcohol to Wrigley Field, as long as it's not open.
That's a huge thing.
So
That's really cool.
yeah, we used to hit Subway and get a full-size sub, and we'd take that to Wrigley and we'd grab some pop outside or water or whatever, and we didn't have to buy ballpark food if we didn't want to spend the money.
Huh. I didn't know that because
I love
I
that.
just assume everybody that sells concessions doesn't allow you. So
Well, I mean, you could always bring in stuff like peanuts. You could buy peanuts outside and bring that in.
yeah.
But it was never, you couldn't like go to Subway and bring a full foot long.
Yeah.
And once they started allowing that, I mean, you guys know as well as I do, it's so much cheaper
Oh
to get
yeah,
food outside the ballpark when you're paying $4.50 for a hot dog.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I'd bring peanuts.
that's great.
Back then, I'd bring peanuts to the game because I'd stop at the dollar store, grab a bag of peanuts.
Yeah.
And it would be the same bag that they were selling at the thing because it had the Tigers logo on it. And
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I just paid $1 versus paying $5 for a bag of peanuts.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's another great way, and I mean, it's just me as kind of a baseball fan to save money, is go to like your minor league games,
Hey.
especially if, somebody from like,
All the
if you're lucky enough to have a team that you really enjoy and somebody's injured and, they're going to be, working their way back up through the minors to come back, and you'll see people who might be on that team
Oh yeah.
3-4 years from now.
I love watching
Yeah.
Cubs play.
I live in Lansing, and so we have the Lugnuts here in town. I go watch at least
Boo!
one. I watch them every year, and sometimes more than once. I mean, it's not far. We have work outings. We'll go out there, the folks in my part of the college, and it's just great. It last year sucked because they didn't play a single game because of the stupid pandemic, but it's it's cheap, and then when they give you tickets at work, well, you can't beat that price, and it's great. I mean, it's absolutely great time, and it's it's baseball minus the some of the BS that comes with going to a major league game. I mean, I love going to Comerica Park, but it's you got to prepare for it. You go through the whole ridiculous security to get into the stadium, and then you walk around, and speakers in the outfield are blasting something that would make a rock concert sound quiet, and it's just like, man, let's get to the baseball game. But speaking of cheap things and way to save money at a baseball game, sometimes going to teams that aren't so good, like the Tigers.
Yep.
I remember going to a game there on it was Labor Day. This is a while ago, maybe 15, 16 years ago. And, they had already lost 80 some games by Labor Day. So we figured the tickets wouldn't be sold out. No need to buy them ahead of time. And parked right across Woodward Avenue in a little parking lot, and it was still cheap. To get into the stadium, and you walk up, and they're like, well, we got some general admission tickets for $5, and we're discounting them today to $4.
Perfect.
All right, $4 to go to a professional sporting event. You can't beat that. And of course, you knew the stadium wasn't going to be but half full, and so after the fifth inning, you walk down to the box seats behind third base because nobody's sitting there. So
Yeah.
Well,
good way to watch the game.
one of the things I did when I wanted to go see the Cubs cheaper, I drove to Milwaukee.
Oh,
I'd go see them at Wrigley North or Miller Park.
yeah. We do the same because Chicago's not far from where we are, right? It's
Right.
not even 3 hours.
It's like 2.5
hours. And so, we went to a White Sox, right? And it's White Sox versus Tigers. And I got so surprised because you just hear all the stuff about White Sox and how the fans are just horrible and stuff like that. And we get there, and I mean, I'm a big dude. I'm hanging out with like 2 other big dudes, right? And we're Tiger. We're all dressed Tiger, right? We got our jerseys on and stuff. And White Sox guy like looks at us, and we're thinking interaction first thing, baby. Here we go. Where you guys from? Grand Rapids. All right. Hey, it's a beautiful park. Hope you guys enjoy yourself. And I was like I just like want to have a comeback, and I'm like, thanks so much. I was like, but
Yeah.
Tickets to get in, right? We got, great like first base side for our first game, like first base side, just shy of home plate type thing. And I want to say we bought them on one of the ticket sites or whatever for $10. It was just amazing, like for the price. Where when I bought my same tickets over in Comerica, I was paying like $50 for the seat.
Yeah.
So to go to those teams that
That's great.
aren't doing great, right? I mean, that's a big thing. I love to go see a new
Yeah,
stadium.
the Sox were not good that year.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
remember you going.
Yeah.
They'll be a little bit more expensive this coming year, but speaking of Chicago and trying to do it for cheap, so the one and only, but it was a good one, Cubs game that I went to at Wrigley Field. My brother and I took train over there, and you take the train from Lansing to Chicago. It doesn't take any longer than driving. You save all the money on the parking BS. You save the stress of driving through there, and then we stayed close enough to, I was going to be there for the weekend anyways, actually visiting friends from Germany that were in town, and took them to the Cubs game, which was a really neat experience. But, we purposely found a place to stay that was way on the north end of town, so it was cheap. I mean, it was cheaper than a hotel room here in Lansing. And then it was like a 10-minute walk to one of the stops on the same L line that took you right to Wrigley Field. So
Sure.
your story, Nick, made me think of this. We're sitting on the train to go to the field, and they were playing the Pirates that day, and they got their asses kicked. This was quite a few years ago when they weren't so good.
Yeah.
And when the pitcher hits a home run in the 7th inning,
This thing, game's kind of over.
yeah, game's kind of over. So, but anyways, we're sitting on the train car to go there, and there was a bunch of Pirates fans, and my brother and I were kind of laughing. We had our Cubs hats on, but thinking, these guys look pretty friendly, and there's some little kids here, so I don't think there's going to be fisticuffs breaking out, and there wasn't. It was all good spirits.
Yeah. It's saying, I know we talk about like, but I think, there's websites out there. I don't even know them, but you can search websites to get tickets. Like,
Wow.
because what I found, and like, that's how I went to a lot of games when I was younger. I had a friend that had season tickets, and he honestly, he'd sell them all to his people. They knew the dates they took. And then he had all these leftover ones. He's like, I'm not going to any of these. And so, yeah, okay, I'd have to go during the week, or there's a chance I got like a weekend type thing.
Yeah.
And it was, so I bought direct from that person, or he just gave them to me for free because he wasn't going to use them.
Right.
And then now they have these things where you can just go post your extra tickets that you're not going to use, post them online. And then, people, you can get, people competing prices at this point. Like, hey, I just want to sell my tickets because I want something out of it. So, what's the big ticket? StubHub. Yeah, right. And that's great because it gives you, hey, I want to sit in a high end these seats, or I want to pick back here, and it can go rows. I mean, right, and really it's whatever the person wants for the seat. So, because I remember, let's say I can go to Z, right, and out in the outfield, and I get like $20 tickets, and then somebody would have A's right on the front for $5 just because they were like, hey, I'm not going to use the tickets out, and so we get deals like that.
I went to a Cubs game in 14 and got my tickets off StubHub.
Yeah,
They were god awful.
yeah,
So I got like $85 seats for like $18 each.
sure.
I
Because
think that was the year I went there. It was 14.
people couldn't give them
They
away.
were bad. Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, it's Wrigley Field. It's August. I want to go to a Cubs game. I don't care if they're good or bad. And honestly, they ended up beating the Dodgers that day.
Yeah.
I remember Chris Coughlin hit a 3-run home run. I I had a great day at the ballpark.
Well, and depending on what, I guess we talk about the money aspect of things. So I'm a big fan of BOGO, right? So
Yeah.
like I remember the first Cubs game I went to, we planned it for a doubleheader, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because two prices, or 2 games for the price of one, and I'll watch that, so that way I get a full day of baseball. And sure, I'm going to spend a little bit more on food probably because I didn't know that we could bring our own in.
Yeah.
But I'll do that. Like even with, we go back to like the Whitecaps, where Whitecaps is Detroit's affiliate. Actually, we just moved up to Single A, which is great.
High A.
High A.
High A.
Yeah, they were low A.
Yeah, and then so right,
The
we flipped with
Lugnuts did the same thing here.
yeah. So
Yep.
we flipped with Florida. So now, which say my only experience down in Florida. So I've been to every affiliate of the Tigers. That was one of the big goals on my list, and so I'm down in Florida. It's the middle of summer. And I'm the person that gets there an hour early,
Yep.
right? I want to take in the park. I want to take in everything.
Yep.
And these people are like, and I run up to the thing, and I was like, what's the chances you have right behind home plate, like sitting here? And the lady goes, let me see. And she's like, oh, yeah, you can get these tickets. And an hour before that, there's nobody in line, right? And so gates open up, and I'm like, where the heck's this rush of people? It was bring your dog to the stadium game. And,
Was this at Joker Marchant?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lakeland. That's a cool
And-
place. I've been there a couple
So-
times.
But it's, this is middle of July, 100 and something degrees.
Oh yeah, down
It was
there.
me and my wife, who's 8 months pregnant,
Oh, jeez.
and there's 3 other people. So there's 5 people. So there was more employees at the time, which, one concession stand was open. The only fun thing about it was, again, my wife being pregnant, I made her go get all the beers. Well, that's so she could be in the shade.
Mhm.
But we ended up moving our seats from where I wanted to sit because it was so hot, moved into the shade. Like, you can just move anywhere. And that's another thing that I do. I mean, a lot of pro stadiums won't let you, but if you're not a nuisance, I mean, when we went to the Cubs game, we bought crap seats in the middle, and then all of a sudden, we watch and we're like, all right, nobody's been in this row, nobody's there, so we went right
Yeah.
behind home plate, upper deck, and sit right there in front row and just watch the entire game for free. So we
Yeah.
self-traded our ticket, or self-traded
You know,
our tickets.
the thing is like so when we went to the Cubs, I think it was 2014 now that I remember right. They were awful that year. We went there in September. So again, like the Tigers, when I went to that Labor Day game I was telling you about, they had probably already lost 80 games by then. And I bought the tickets probably 2 months ahead of time. I actually bought them right from the Cubs website, but I wanted them because I'm nerdy this way. I wanted them mailed to my house,
Yes.
an actual ticket with the Addison Street address on the envelope.
I
So I ordered them that way, and they came, but they were cheap. I think I paid $18 for them. They were upper deck behind home plate. You know, I mean, you could see the whole field. It was fine, and it actually turned out to be a pretty warm day, even for September. So it was nice to be in the shade.
you know, I'm old school like that too. Like I want my physical stub of my ticket. And
Yeah.
I do too.
I really
All the
miss
way.
them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the first time I dealt with it, we went to opening day or opening weekend down in Cleveland, and you know we didn't have tickets, not gonna find them, so you know we're gonna find a scalper to, because you know when they don't sell them at the stadium, they allow them to kind of
Yeah.
just get rid of them.
Yep.
We're like, hey, so we get what is row G. I remember this, and we're like, that's not bad. I'd like closer, and we'd like to have that. And all of a sudden, on top of my thing, it says I have, you know, a $10 food credit, right, with the purchase of a ticket. And we paid the guy $25 each for these tickets.
Yep.
Well, you know, come to find out, so with that $10, we really got to spend $10 in food, because this is my first time dealing with like a printout paper type thing. And I'm like, this seems sketch, but I had an extra $50 if I blew it, whatever. You know, like the discount I was going to get was fine. And then so ended up, if you go down to there, G is actually the third row up. So it doesn't start with A. So, and then the guy that was sitting in front of us, he was a Tigers fan. He, the company he was contractor for, gave him tickets or whatever. So he ended up giving them to a scalper to sell. And so he sold them to them, and he goes, "Oh, I'm so glad that you guys bought them. I never really come around Tigers fans and stuff like that." And so yeah, I'm 3 rows up, get a beautiful view. This guy, like, what a great game. And I had, so I paid $15 for my ticket and $10 in free food.
Well, I think one of the things that's changed over the year with baseball is upper deck seats used to be terrible.
Yeah.
And they really offer great views. Like I refused to sit in the upper deck in Wrigley Field because I knew how bad it was at Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I don't want to sit up there. And then we did a tour of Wrigley Field in 2013. And they took us up to the upper deck. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a gorgeous view. And these tickets are cheap. I'd sit up here anytime.
Yeah. So when we talk about saving money at things, I guess if you're a person that wants collectibles or gifts or free,
Yep.
One of the biggest things I'll tell you, and how to get a free souvenir, right? Like you don't want to spend money at the place. You don't want to buy the stuff. Granted, I usually buy a game used foul ball, something like that from every stadium I go to, and I buy a logo baseball, right? So all the stadiums I've been to, I have a logo for it. But every park that I've been to, you can go to customer service area, or there's a designated first time,
Mhm.
Hey, first time to the park, and they'll give you, a cardboard, paper stock type thing. It's like real hardcore. They'll, it's got welcome. Hey, enjoy your first game. Like when I went to the Cubs, right? I got a bag. I got the paper, couple other things, and usually in there they'll give you coupons and stuff like that. So every place you go to, they will usually give you a paper stock of something, a welcome gift and all that. Hey, remember your first game. They date it, they do all that. And I think that's really awesome. So, if you have kids and you're bringing up like a whole family, everybody can get one. And it's something you have, just like with the ticket stub, right? It's something you have for memory. And, I place mine all with my other baseball stuff I have displayed in my basement. And it's really awesome for me.
Well, so we're going to get to the other money aspect here.
Yeah.
Salaries.
Oh, yeah.
So this kind of bothers me because I've always been the type of, I get pissed off when my favorite players are leaving because they want $300 million. Chris Bryant's a great example. So Chris Bryant's going to want a $300 million contract. He's going to end up leaving the Cubs.
Yeah.
I'm pissed at Chris Bryant. And I started thinking of this morning. Why am I so angry at Chris Bryant? The Ricketts have billions of dollars.
Yep.
The Cubs are worth billions of dollars. They won the World Series 5 years ago. And all they're doing is running around crying poor. They bought everything around Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
so they could, put up a hotel and have this big, fan engagement area. And they're running around crying poor. Pay the man the $300 million. I don't care. It's not my money.
I mean, it's my money to pay for the stadium, right? Because they give tax dollars towards those
Yeah,
things to bring people
We're paying
in.
for it anyways.
Yeah. That's it, so when it comes to, and everybody, no player should get that amount of money. Like, when it comes to it, like, I don't care, right? I really, I was so happy. I was so happy when, Illich was, he took the team back, did all that, and like he
spent all that money,
crap tons, right? And we go get swept in the World Series, say, but I don't care, right? I'll pay for it, right? Like the Yankees did it for the longest time, right? I mean, they had such big names, so much money, and it's a bought team, and cool. You get the other teams where it's like, they have the lowest salary in the entire thing, and then they go out and win, but really, it's not our money. And what do I care how much another person makes? Because we talk about it financially. It's personal finances. Yeah. Like what you make has nothing to do with me. Oh, he's not worth it. I didn't ask what he, if he's not worth it, don't pay the check. Oh, guess what? We don't pay the check. Right. So like
the hard part I have with these huge contracts, and it's really the only problem I have, because I kind of agree with you. If they're wanting it and somebody's willing to pay it,
yeah,
make it like $100 million and make it for a third of the time.
Oh.
Because you're paying for these guys, and they're only going to be good for about the next 5 years anyway, but you're paying for them for the next 15.
Well, and I think that's what part of the problem is. So because of service time, you basically are, and baseball is archaic in this way, you're basically locking a player up to a lower salary for the best years of their life. By the time they hit free agency, they're 29 years old.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of their prime. They're going to be really good for the next 2-3 years. So you have to pay 4 or 5 years of subpar just to get those 2 or 3 years of great.
Yeah. Well, we look at the big man, Miguel Cabrera, right? I mean, he wins Triple Crown. He's worth every dime. And then all of a sudden, so he earned his pay, let's say, and then he just sucked, right? He gets his big old payday, and now he's like DH'd, and it's just, is he worth that money? No, but man, would I have paid him that money when he was doing it? Heck yes, right? Because, dude, if you're going to give me a Triple Crown, come on, nobody hits this. This is a thing. Like, so sure. We underpaid him at that point, and people don't realize that. Oh man, give him whatever he wants. Okay, during that year, sure, nobody's just gonna go, here's your bonus. Your bonus comes when you sign that big ass contract, right? I mean, and we watch it with so many players. Oh, and we see it so much. Hey, yeah, you're probably getting 2 years out of these guys that are gonna be great. I mean, or you're gonna get hit for some drug tests and stuff like that these guys
or they end up doing what the Tigers did to unload some of their contracts. The team eats part of it, and then they get somebody to take the rest. I mean, that's how they got rid of Verlander. That's how they got rid of Fielder a few years ago. So, Nick, you're it's a baseball show, but we're talking about salaries, and you're a bit of a fan of European soccer leagues. So I always find it interesting to compare how baseball salaries are structured and how the contracts work and how free agency works compared to, say, take most of the top European soccer leagues. So the comparison would be, first of all, the players over there, there's a huge, huge gap in salary. I mean, they don't have a league minimum like we do with baseball in the major leagues. They have something similar, but it's not even close to the comparables. So you'll take a team that will have, say, a guy that's been playing in their under 21 squad, and maybe they'll throw him up for a couple games to fill in for an injured spot. And so he makes, $100,000 a year, or the equivalent thereof. And then you got a guy on the field that's making $40 million a year.
Yeah.
So part of the reason why the salaries are so big over there, and this is what made me think of it compared to baseball, is essentially their players are always free agents. They get signed for contracts, but the contract can be bought out. And so, and this is a real interesting thing about it. You talk about money being thrown around. So Miguel Cabrera signed, what was it, an 8-year contract with the Tigers, and he's making about $22 million a year, something like that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately now you've got a $22 million a year guy that's going to hit 290 and, maybe 12 home runs. hopefully, if he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got a triple crown out of him, and you know, it wasn't his fault the Tigers didn't win the World Series. So let's say Cabrera signed a 2 or 3 year contract. They had him paid $40 million a year. And then the second year into that contract says, or maybe it was a 4-year contract, but while he's still under contract, his agent calls him up and says, hey, guess what? The New York Yankees will pay you $42 million a year if you'll go there. Here's what we'll do. We'll convince the Yankees that you're so good, they'll buy your contract out. So however much money the Tigers still owe you on that contract, okay, if it's a $40 million a year contract and he's got 2 years left on it, you know, they'll wheel and deal a little bit. They'll say, well, the Yankees will pay maybe 70 or 60 million of that outstanding 80 million to the Tigers. And then Cabrera gets his $42 million on top of that. It's an absolute astronomical amount of money that slushes around, and it's partially because it's some of the richest people in the world that own these teams. And so they're almost always free agents, even though they can be under contract. If there is an owner out there willing enough to spend money on it, they'll take them. And you know, baseball, it doesn't have a salary cap, but it has a salary cap, right, with the luxury tax.
Yeah.
They tax it as, you know, sort of a blanket number. I think last year it was, I don't know, 170 million, but last year didn't really mean anything. So let's say 2019, I think it was at 170 or 175 million of the team payroll, but they get to count certain things, have to count towards it, but then other guys that are on contract can count against it. So there's a little bit of a formula, but that's basically what it is. And, you know, the idea was, well, you know, this is the happy medium that we can get peace with the players union, and the owners can sort of have an excuse to not completely blow out the paycheck if they really want to get a guy, you know, looking at a team like the Yankees. But I have a feeling, having been a fan of baseball my whole life and lived through a couple of work stoppages, that this is going to be an issue big time when it comes to the next labor negotiations. And here's why. Because if you remember, the offseason from 2018 to 2019, there was a lot of talk amongst the players about, oh, these huge free agents that just sat there, and they weren't signed until the second week of spring training, the third week of spring training, and the players brought out the big C word, collusion. You got it. They said, oh, the owners are colluding. How dare they? How dare they collude to not sign so-and-so for a, you know, $28 million contract for 10 years when he's only going to be healthy for 4 of them. And that has always been kind of, well, the players think anyways, that they've got this, you know, wild card to play, that they can accuse the owners of colluding, and that will get them to have some type of illegal footing if the labor dispute got really bad. But it's, I don't know. Baseball would be wise to play nice, both the billionaire owners and the millionaire players, because we know what happened last year when they didn't. And they tried to use the pandemic restrictions as an excuse to sort of fight it out ahead of time. And I think both the players and the owners misjudged just how serious the other side was about fighting.
Yeah.
And then, you know, how frustrated the players or the fans are going to get. So
At the end of the day, the fans are the important thing, because if we're not there and we're not buying the tickets, they're not making any money.
That's right. And unlike the NFL, where I don't think the owners give 2 craps about the fans in the stands, because they completely alter the game entirely for television, and it's almost unwatchable now because of it. Baseball, you have 81 times a year, at least. If you're good, you get even more, that you've got the opportunity to put 30, 40,000 people in the stadium. And even if you average a ticket price at, you know, something lower than it actually is for a lot of teams, 20, 25 bucks, you get the concessions that people spend when they get into there. You know, the Ilitches own everything that you spend money on around Comerica Park. They own the parking lots. They get a hand in the concessions there in the stadium, especially when you buy Little Caesar's pizza, right?
Say when you eat Little Caesar, yeah,
all that good stuff.
Boy.
So, I mean, they are truly hurt when the fans don't show up. The Lions, I mean, I don't think they care one bit. The team's terrible. People still go waste money and watch the team. Discussion for another day. We'll do a football show, but baseball is completely different. So,
Well, yeah, I think part of that is what you hit there, David. It's the fact that you get 81 games at home every year. You know, for football, you get 8.
Yeah.
You look forward to that because you know you don't get to watch it very often. So you're excited. Hey, you know, there's a big game on Sunday. I'm excited. Whereas with baseball, you're like, all right, I got a game tonight. All right, I got a game tonight. All right, I got a game tomorrow afternoon. You know, you have to, if your team's not winning, you have to find a way to stay engaged and actually care.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm kind of done with the financial talk. I want to get into the fun stuff. How about you guys?
Well, I think,
yes.
you know, I think with the financial real quick, you know, the only thing I want to talk about is the massive amount of money that's coming into these players. Okay. Real quick, I want to talk about how, you know, again, we don't control their money. And so we see how many of these guys make millions of dollars and they end up broke, right?
Yep.
I mean, and you also have to remember that, you know, being a real estate guy, right? We look at Matthew Stafford. I know it's football, but you know, he just got traded. You know, so when we look at baseball, I mean, these guys get traded. So they buy these luxury houses, right? I mean, one of my favorite guys in real estate bought a baseball player's house down in Florida. It was custom built, all this and that. I mean, I think he paid, let's say, $50 million, and the guy that I love in real estate paid like 30, right? So I mean, this guy takes $20 million loss, and he's traded within time. Yeah, sure, he's making it, but you know, I think there's not enough investment talk going through these guys because, and I don't blame, you know, it's weird because I don't blame players in the aspect because when you're a professional athlete in what you do, you've devoted your life to that, right? Like you're the person who wakes up every single day and you go take ground balls. I don't care if you're a catcher, right? You're behind the plate every day, you know, throwing down to second, throwing down, right? Like pitchers, they work on it. Like every position. Oh, that was like one of my favorite things. They talked about average price or average salary per position. And, you know, right field for us is where you put the kid that's not the best player.
Yeah.
And they had the second highest salary. If you look at it, right? Right field is the second highest salary average for a player in the major leagues.
Well, and when you look at major leaguers, you know why that is?
Yeah.
They have the hardest throw on the field.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to throw to third base. You have to be able to throw home. That's the farthest throw on the field.
Yep. Let's say. Yeah. I mean, and who doesn't absolutely love, right? Oh, we got rid of him. Yohannes Cespedes, right? Yeah. We didn't have him when he made the throw, but there's not I watched that video a million times. Yohannes Cespedes takes that ball, chucks it all the way, just strike right to the home plate. And I was like, you got to be shitting. Yeah. Like, you know, those are the things. But we talk about the arms. You have to have all this. But so these guys are devoting everything to it. So, yeah, if they're not learning other things along the way, I think that's where yeah, okay, you have a person going to fight for your salary. But I really think that baseball players and things need to get set up with financial advisors right away. They need to, you know, if they listen, that's on them. If they listen, it's on them. If they don't, that's on them as well. But I think that the opportunities need to be there a heck of a lot more.
I would agree.
I think that's any pro sport though.
Yes.
Because the money runs out eventually. And I think the thing that at least I don't see that you see, well, at least with football and basketball, is you don't see a lot of baseball players who are the faces of.
Well, back
you know,
not
like,
anymore.
no,
back in the day, what they put you know, Ken Griffey Jr., Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa, all on those candy bars, right?
Oh, yeah.
Who didn't want to buy those, you know?
Yeah.
But you're not seeing a lot of things with these guys on them too much.
They don't get quite the endorsements in baseball they used to. But you know, Mike, you bring up a good point in terms of all the sports and you know, I don't know what you would call it, sort of financial planning lessons or something, or financial responsibility. I mean, yeah, you get a guy like Cabrera that's theoretically you think, geez, you know, 8-year salary, $22 million a year. I mean, even this historian can do that math in his head and think, yeah, I think I could live off that for a while.
For life.
Yeah.
Right. But, you know, you look at his divorce payout that he had and how much money he had to spend on that. And then he said, I don't have it. And maybe he didn't. But look at the the average Major League Baseball player isn't going to be making that kind of money.
Right.
And let's say a guy plays 5 years at the league minimum. Okay. So that, you think, well, geez, that's, a guy made $1.25 million. That's pretty good money. But, if you make $1.25 million between, say, 20, 25 years old, or 25 and 30 years old, you're making 18 grand before that a year at best in the minor leagues, and probably half that. And if the only thing you've ever done in your life is play baseball, you better been good with your money, because when you quit playing baseball, it's going to be kind of hard to find a job that pays really anything, unless you did actually pay attention when you were in college, assuming you went and played college ball. And a lot of baseball players do. But, I mean, we think of earnings as being a sort of lifelong thing. I mean, I started working when I was 16 and plan on working well into my 60s. And that's a pretty good run of income earning. But if I only could earn what I'm really good at for 5 or 6 or 7 years, man, I better make the most of it.
And that's, that's exactly it. And, because that the contracts are the end of it. Like, it's a salary, right? Like, hey, you get paid this amount for 1 full year, and then that's what you got. If you go out and get hurt, you go, I mean, sure, but they're going to pay you till the end of that salary, the end of your contract, but that's about it. But like, Big Papi, right? Yeah. I absolutely one fantastic player, great guy. His money, let's say 50% of his money stayed here. The other 50% went home, right? And he's there and he's funding so much stuff. And then he got pissed off because somebody put a hit on him for, what was it, $9,000 or something, like $8,000. And dude's like, I just need the money. Like, when you go to that poor country, but like, you look at how many of these players are sending their money back home, right? Because I mean, we do have a lot of players from out of the country.
The majority of them are from Latin America.
Yeah, right. I mean,
it's Venezuela, which is like the
perfect example of the
biggest economic disaster.
Yeah, Clemente was a great example.
Yeah,
because he was always giving back, and then died in his prime.
Yep,
that's it.
Give back.
Right.
Yes, exactly. That's what he was doing when the plane crashed. So,
and he would have been one of the greatest ball players ever.
Yep. And so, when we look at like the elites though in every sport, I don't know there's a face of baseball, right? But like we can all agree that the face of golf, Tiger Woods. I mean, the guy's made video games, he's done everything. But like, when you look at MLB 2K, right? It's a new player every year, so there's no face. So, just like in the NFL, there's no real. Sure, we all know Tom Brady and stuff like that, but like, he's not the poster child. I mean, technically, everybody hated it.
I think it becomes harder. I'm like, it's easier a little bit to say like you have a face of basketball or you have a face of hockey, because even though there are different positions, if you really excel at one position, you're kind of that face. So like Jordan in his prime was the face of basketball.
But I mean, still is like that legacy is going to go. I mean,
but like you said, there's so many different positions. Yeah, as a quarterback, Tom Brady's probably the face of the quarterback now, probably for the next foreseeable future.
Well, unless
Mahomes comes
Mahomes, right,
six championships.
Because like people, I mean, honestly, like the amount of people who are like so much Mahomes, and I'm just like, he didn't even touch Tom Brady. You could see it coming out of him, and you want it. But
Mike and I talk about it all the time. Okay, if you have to make a decision as a Cubs fan, who do you want to keep? You want to keep Bryant or you want to keep Baez? I think Bryant's ceiling is probably higher than Javi Baez.
Yep.
But if I'm paying my money to see somebody play baseball, I'm paying my money to see Javi Baez. There's no more exciting player in the game.
Yeah.
The things he does. I watched the tag in spring training the other day. He didn't even look the ball into the glove. He just grabbed it, slapped the tag. You couldn't even see it. It was so quick.
Fantastic.
Or the error that he turned into a great play.
Right. He made an error and still got the out.
Yeah. Say, I just shared it on Facebook. Who's the catcher? So a catcher's sitting there, and you got a new rookie sitting over here on first.
Oh yeah, it was Yadi Molina.
Yeah, Yadi. And I'm laughing about this.
Yeah, he points to it and says, "Go."
He said, "Let's see what you got, kid." And he throws him back real quick, right? Throws him back to first, and he's like, "All right, got him on his toes." And he takes off, and Molina literally, like, from his knees, just wham, beats this dude by like 3 steps, and he just walks off. Doesn't look at him. And I was like, dude, when you're at a professional level, when you're the greatest players, like
Yeah,
these
that's
people are
that-
the greatest at what they do.
and that is the fun thing. It sounds weird, but that's actually one of the things that's really, really fun about going to a spring training game is
Oh, yeah.
you have on the field the guys like Miguel Cabrera, and then you've got the guys that, you know, learned after you got thrown out by Molina
they're
why
Miguel
they're
Cabrera.
not, right?
I
And,
think-
and it's like you can see right there by that contrast. Okay, here's the minor leaguers. This is why this guy's going to be playing in Grand Rapids or Lansing this summer.
Yep.
And then, you know, this is why this dude's going to be sitting behind home plate for the Cardinals and
Yeah.
making, you know, $15 million. I mean, it's right there. It makes you really appreciate the skill of the game.
Well, I think one of the great things they've been doing in spring training is they're miking up players.
Yeah.
So you can listen to Anthony Rizzo talking about the game.
Yeah.
And then when it's he did this the other day in a game, it was his time to bat. He took the microphone off and handed it to Baez. He goes, "Here you go." And he went and hit. Sometimes they hit with the microphone on and you can hear them talking through
Yeah.
the pitch.
You know, they did
They
that
should
for
do that in the game.
they
Yeah.
did it for a few
in,
games.
like,
In real games, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they do it for a few real games or whatever.
yeah.
You know, because they'll do mic'd up or whatever. And Mike Trout's got one of them, and he's standing out there, and he's just having a conversation with the people and all that. And he's like, "You just hear, all right, hold on, the ball's coming." You just watch him track, and he's like, "All right, sorry, I had to do my job for a minute, right?" And then takes off. But
It's like second hat to him.
oh yeah,
you know,
right? And it's just
And
When you're-
Cabrera's one that chats it up. I mean, he's always been known for that, talking to players out on the field, and
oh yeah,
it's
Spaceman.
Yeah, because they're always next to
Let's say
somebody.
they got somebody.
that's
like
right.
that.
Yeah, they got to do something when they're out there.
So let's get into some of the fun stuff. I got some trivia.
Yeah.
First trivia question, Mike is not allowed to answer because he's heard the answer.
All right.
I don't think I remember the answer.
You probably, if you don't, you can chime in, but you might. So this was as of 2006. There were 3 players that were connected. The first player started in 1939. And the last player retired in 2006, which means the player that started in 1939
Yep.
played against this middle player at an undetermined date. And then that middle player played against the guy that retired in 2006. Can you give me any of these 3 players?
Not a chance.
He's Googling it. I'm kidding.
Yeah, way to go. No, I couldn't. Oh gosh. I really couldn't.
What were the years again, Dave?
It was the first player started in 1939. He was a hitter.
Okay.
So we're
There was a pitcher in between them, and the last one retired in 2006 and was a hitter. Mike, do you remember any of these 3?
Wasn't one a longtime a longtime Giant?
No.
Nah,
Okay.
nah.
For some reason I
Okay.
thought.
Can you grab the ground?
Can you give us a hint, like what Mike was
I'm
suggesting with the
gonna go
team?
Babe Ruth. I'm gonna go Babe Ruth, right?
Okay.
So for my 1939.
Even though
Oh wait,
It's
not
started-
started in 39. Babe Ruth's career was about done. Well, it was done by then.
Yeah, it was
He's
done by
died-
then.
Died,
So-
died now, right around there.
here's your hint, David.
Okay.
Possibly the greatest hitter of all time is the first one.
Okay, so that would probably be Ted Williams.
That is Ted Williams.
That's right. I will.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
last one is honestly no shock because he started playing in 1982,
Mm-hmm.
started his career, I believe, in the Midwest for the Indians, and he played for over 20 years.
Chipper Jones.
Yeah.
To 82 to 2006.
Yep.
That's how about almost Tony Gwynn years, and one of the greatest hitters of all time, who died unbelievably tragically young.
Very young.
But it's not Tony Gwynn because I don't think he started out with the Indians, and I think he retired around 99 or 2000.
Yeah.
Piazza didn't play that.
No, Piazza, no, he wouldn't have been.
You got me.
And who is the in between one?
The between one is a pitcher. He went from 59 to 82, and he's actually from the area. I believe he went to
Oh.
Hope College, Michigan, in Michigan.
Okay, Grand Rapids area. All right. God, until you said that, I was gonna guess like Tom Seaver, but yeah, I know he didn't go to Hope College.
So
All
the,
right, I give up.
the pitcher was Jim Cott,
Oh yeah.
and the hitter, you're going to sit there and go, oh, yeah, Julio Franco.
Oh man.
Cleveland Indians, right?
Hey.
His batting stance, you know, he always had the big elbow up. But yeah, he played. Geez, he had a long
He
career.
played forever.
I love the game, baby.
Absolutely.
So that was one of my big trivia ones. I love that trivia question. People, it's just so hard because there's such that huge span. So I learned this the other day. Do you know there are 3 Hall of Famers that played with the Harlem Globetrotters?
Oh, yeah, you gave me this one.
No. Huh.
Baseball Hall of Famers.
Can anybody name one of them?
This might be the one where I remember it's an ex-giant
Mookie.
or whatever.
Say they only like. Wow. I have no idea. Oh, these are some great trivia.
I have some great trivia questions.
Huh.
They only comprise 2 major league teams, and one of these players played for both teams.
Okay.
And if you need
Well,
another hint, I can give you another hint.
are they New York teams? Because they are the Harlem Globetrotters.
They are not New York teams.
Okay.
When he first asked me that, my thought was, well, maybe they're like now LA Dodgers and
Yeah.
San Francisco Giants, who used to be New York teams.
Right.
Let's see.
Yep.
No, what do you got for a hint?
One of them was involved in one of the biggest, most lopsided trades in Major League Baseball history.
Oh.
And the man he was traded for was Ernie Broglio.
Boy. Do I have to go downstairs and get my handy dandy copy of the Ultimate Baseball book?
Yes, at this point, jeez. I got
That one was
I should have brought it with me. I should have brought it up here. It's in downstairs.
That one was Lou Brock.
Lou Brock,
Oh,
So
Oh, wow.
obviously,
St. Louis.
St. Louis and the
yeah,
Cubs.
St. Louis. Yep.
The other Cub player, Ferguson Jenkins.
Okay.
I
Really?
remember that.
And the other Cardinal,
So that,
one of the greatest pitchers of all time, Bob Gibson.
now, so they started with the Harlem Globetrotters.
No, they just played with the Harlem Globetrotters. I don't know when they played with the Globetrotters. So I follow Fergie on Twitter.
Yeah.
And he had a picture of himself. He posted a picture of himself in the Globetrotters jersey. And he goes, a lot of people don't know I played with the Globetrotters. And the other 2 Hall of Famers that did were Gibson and Brock. And I went, holy crap, that's a great trivia question.
That's huge. All right.
So that's enough trivia for the moment. I want to get into some of the greatest things. So I'm going to spring this on the 2 of you. Mike's already gotten the heads up for this one. So,
I have an impossible trivia question that I'll save for later on. So I'll
you want to do it now? I'm
No.
ready.
I said we
All right,
already
this
got
is a
these
quick one.
Impossibles.
None of you get it, so it's a quick one. Anybody know where Harrisville, Michigan is? I do.
I don't.
It's in
Lake
Michigan.
Huron. Yeah, it's a beautiful little town on Lake Huron.
Okay.
Up kind of between Bay City and Alpena.
Okay.
And very famous baseball player from Harrisville, Michigan. His initials are K.
Chris Christopherson, no, I'm kidding.
Yes.
KK.
Okay. There's a little bar on, I think it's right on US 23 there. They have good fish and chips.
What era?
But, named after him. Oh, way back, 40s.
40s.
No idea.
No clue.
30s, 40s. Kai Kyler.
Kai Kyler.
Kai Kyler.
Nope.
Yeah.
Not ringing a bell.
Outfielder.
All right.
Yep.
Outfielder.
Pirates?
Yeah.
And Cubs, I believe.
Believe so. National League. And it, Kai Kyler's place. So he's the pride of Harrisville, Michigan.
Cool.
So, there you go. So,
So
all right, what you got for us?
I want to know, you guys are setting a lineup. I want to know your top players at every position. You get 2 pitchers. Doesn't matter if they're starters or relievers.
Oh.
I know my pitchers right off the bat.
I'm a Verlander guy through and through, right?
Okay, so Verlander and who?
Oh, Randy Johnson.
Okay. David, you
This
want
is
some time
like-
to think?
This is like all time.
All time.
All time.
Oh, maybe
Negro
it'll be-
leagues too.
Yeah, maybe it'll be
could
funner to
go-
do it just off the top of my head.
I'm still gonna go. I'm gonna go with one pitcher, an older guy. You know, I'm gonna go Christie Mathewson,
Okay, yeah.
and then Greg Maddux.
If we're doing all time, I don't know. I have to throw. Gosh.
Well, you got to pick two, so I'll come back to you. I know mine too. I mentioned one earlier, Bob Gibson.
Yep.
By the way,
That would
Greg
be mine.
Maddux.
Mine would be Bob Gibson and Nolan Ryan.
I said
Yep.
I have to go Nolan Ryan because like I'm a huge Nolan Ryan, and so
Me too.
I'm gonna take Nolan Ryan, and
And you,
because I'm very much about like things I've seen. Like stats are stats, and I get that, right? But I'm still gonna stick with my boy JV. Just the movement of the ball and,
Yeah.
and the way he can
Yeah.
do things.
He's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
Oh, absolutely.
without
That-
a doubt. I mean,
Bob Gibson and Nolan Ryan, the reason why they come right off the top of my head is pitching mechanics. If you're teaching kids how to pitch baseball properly, tell them just watch those two pitch.
we
You know, we could talk about this for the rest of the show, but the reason why pitchers blow their arms out nowadays and can't pitch more than 4 innings because they have no mechanics. None.
No.
They stand up there with their back as straight as a board, and then they do a half bend, throw the ball, and then wonder why they all got Tommy John surgery by the time they're 28, or their elbows blown out after pitching 4 innings, or a dead arm, in May. Well,
But it was like
Who-
the
who-
submariners and
Greg
things like that.
Maddox.
yeah,
Yeah, have you
right.
seen?
Again, incredible mechanics. Greg Maddux had, and you look at some of the great Braves pitchers in the 1990s, like Tom Glavine, same thing, just
Oh, yeah.
textbook mechanics. And
Have you
those
seen?
guys had long careers for a reason. And Nolan Ryan, probably the best pitching mechanics of anybody.
Oh yeah, I mean, shoutouts just beyond belief. But one of my favorite memes. I love memes, right? I am, especially baseball ones.
Is it the house?
The house, right? So there's a house, and there's like I hired Greg Maddox to paint the house, and it's all. And he goes, for some reason, he only did the corners and needs somebody to fill everything
Yeah.
else in. And I was
I've
like,
seen
this
this
is
song.
epic, right? Like,
Great.
I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great.
It's great. Yeah. And it's, the pitchers nowadays that are going to have the longer careers are still the ones that actually go up with good mechanics. And
Yep.
I mean, I don't know when it became something I started to notice, but maybe like the mid 2000s, you'd see guys pitching from a stretch when there were no runners on base. And I learned something because I love listening to the games on the radio, even if I'm watching them on TV. I'll still have the radio broadcast on, but I don't watch very many of them on TV because I don't have cable. Talk about saving money. But, it's, I don't know, maybe it was 4 or 5 years ago, I was listening to Tigers broadcast, and Dan Dickerson and Jim Price were talking all about this, about the difference in pitching mechanics and everything. And they were talking to the Tigers pitching coach before one of the games. And this was, I think in 2017 or 2018, it was the year after Verlander second run at the Cy Young when he got injured and his mechanics were all screwed up. And they were interviewing him and he says, well, the thing that we got to do, and we do this with all the pitchers, is we make them sit down and we make them watch a clip of a good inning they had pitching. And we tell them, no matter how you threw the ball, you got to do exactly the same thing over and over again. And it's like, so, okay, a guy had horrible mechanics, but happened to be painting the corners for 3 batters when they got up to the plate. But because that was the inning you decided was his best that he had in 3 months, your version of coaching is repeat that over and over and over again. So, and maybe that's the, superstitious aspect of baseball. I don't know. I mean, there's a logic to it, right? Success is success because it worked. So try it again and see if you get the same results. But if, baseball, you can't outsmart the game. And there's a reason why pitching mechanics are there. I mean, watch a guy like Nolan Ryan, who had a career of 20 some years and could still throw the heat when he was 40 years old. There's a reason for that. His arm was perseverance. And I know he's a bad name because the drug scandal and everything. But Roger Clemens, dare I bring it up, was another guy that had like really awesome pitching mechanics. And when you watch old clips of Roger Clemens from the 1980s and early 90s, I mean, there's a reason why the guy, I watched him pitch a game at Tiger Stadium. It was on TV, but this is in, I don't know, it was the mid to late 90s. And I think he had 19 strikeouts that game. And watching the game on TV, just marveling at, the Tigers back then probably had, 5 guys in their starting lineup that didn't belong in the major leagues, but still, I mean, just watching him absolutely do master work out there and pitching mechanics. Don't overthink it, folks.
One of the greatest pitch games I ever saw was his birthday. Kerry Wood's 20 strikeout game, which should have been a no-hitter.
Yeah.
And they incorrectly said that infield hit was a hit when it should have been an error. But he was masterful that game.
And you know what? And you've got to look at it like, to me, perfect games are perfect games. But a 20 strikeout game, that's all but 7 of the outs being by strikeout.
Yeah.
With a perfect game, there's always 2 or 3 like really great defensive plays that save that hit from happening, or that,
So let's move to catcher.
Yep.
catcher.
I have a definitive answer on catcher. And I'm going Negro Leagues with this one.
Okay.
It's Josh Gibson. Died young, never got his due. The Babe Ruth of the Negro Leagues.
Sure.
Catcher's a hard one.
It is.
I get emotionally attached to people. So like I brought it up, like I was a Piazza fan, right? Mike Pizza, baby. Say when I was a young thing, right? And looks like pizza. So best hitter, right? I mean, as a catcher, like this is amazing. And Yadier is just fantastic. If I had to pick a lineup though, I guess like I was I never was a catcher, right? I was always a big kid, and so but like Pudge Rodriguez, right? I mean, just the way he brought teams together, like so.
That's who I would pick.
Pudge is huge, man. Like so, it's like, and I think he was just a great leader. So like, if I'm picking a team that I'm building, it's probably gonna either be Pudge. Yeah, so I'm gonna go Pudge. That's gonna be my final. We'll lock it.
No, he called a great game.
Fantastic.
Had a great arm.
Yep. I say, and. David?
Yeah, catcher's a tough one. I mean, Pudge was my gut reaction to him. Maybe that's because of what he did for the Tigers.
Yeah,
sure.
And of course, he had a great career before that with Texas. But Yogi Berra, I mean, the mind of the game. I mean, he had a high career batting average for a catcher. I mean, he had almost 300, and I think he had over 300 home runs, well over actually, I think maybe close to 400 even,
and he didn't have the best personality.
Yeah. And the mind of the game. I mean, he had a managerial career and everything after that. And it's
some best quotes.
Oh yeah.
All the way.
That 90% of the game is 10% mental or whatever.
No, 90% of the game is 50%.
Sorry.
50% mental. Looks like deja vu all over again.
I'll throw a shout into my mom here. She would say Tony Pena, and you want to know why?
She liked his butt.
Actually, no. If there was nobody on base, Pena would literally sit down to receive the ball. He would sit down and do the splits and catch the ball.
He was saving his energy for when he was going to hit that triple that probably wasn't coming, but in the back of his mind, it was there.
So next position is a tough one for me. First base.
I'll say I got mine figured out. The Iron Man.
Lou Gehrig.
I'll save you time. Mine too. Lou Gehrig. Hard to argue with that.
Nick?
I mean, we have a Triple Crown winner. We have I don't know, Triple Crown is very hard for me to beat, right? I think, does he play the position amazing itself? But so I have to go with Cabrera, right? I mean, I do. I'm granted, and I'm devoted to my Tigers in the first place, so that's what makes me lose a lot of my fantasy baseball, because that's why I don't do it anymore. But yeah, I'm going to go with him.
I probably have to go with Gehrig.
I mean, you're talking about guys who had great careers, but then they were cut short.
Yep.
How many more years does he have if he doesn't get sick?
A lot, probably.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he
I
already
would.
had set the record
Yeah.
for
And
consecutive
Yeah.
games.
till Cal Ripken. And the thing about Gehrig that a lot of people forget is the cruelty of fate. I mean, he was really absolutely ahead of his time on like sports medicine and fitness, and was the antithesis of Babe Ruth. I mean, he didn't drink, he didn't smoke. He was into working out and everything. And of all people, the one that got the disease that destroyed his body so quickly. It was a sad irony. But yeah, you talk about players that were way ahead of their time. And
Because Ripken came up, I'm gonna throw a little tidbit out here. So I'm watching on ESPN the day he broke Gehrig's record. And this was the beginning of the internet. It was 1995. So I shot off a letter to the Sporting News, and they published it in their letters to the editor type deal. And I thought that was cool. And this is one of the big regrets of my life. They emailed me like a month later and asked me to, do a piece on Ripken.
Yeah.
And I just kind of let it go. I'm like, yeah, I'm busy. I don't really have time to do that. One of the big regrets of my life that, a national publication said, hey, give us your thoughts on Cal Ripken beating Gehrig's streak. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have time for that. I'll just move on with my life.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
what could have been? You could have been a budding sports journalist,
I guess I could have.
columnist at least. Yeah,
Dumbass
that's really neat.
me.
I didn't know that you did that.
I
That's
did.
cool. Huh? That's really neat.
I don't know why at that point I was so enamored with Ripken, but I really was. I mean, him breaking that, to me, it was one of those big moments when you looked at, you knew you were witnessing history. You were never going to see anything like that again.
Yeah, I was enamored with it too. I remember sitting.
Anymore.
Yeah.
No.
That'll never
Yes.
be broken. DiMaggio's
History.
consecutive history, was never.
That's right.
Nobody's ever going to hit more RBIs than Hack Wilson in a season. There are just certain records that won't fall.
Yeah, I remember watching the same game, Dave, with my dad and my two brothers, and my dad saying, "Yeah, that'll be one record that'll never be broken again, ever." And even the guys on ESPN at the time were saying, "Yeah, this is likely a record that won't be broken." And I'm not going to name names, but you think of some managers that are around, including those that have recently managed the Tigers, and well, I had to force so-and-so to rest today. I think he needs a rest, even though we just had an off day, and, every other person that works a job has to show up every day. This guy needs to rest. And that mentality and part of it is because, now you've got a $20 million asset on the field. I hate to refer to people that way, but they make a lot of money. And if I was managing a team and I had $20 million players there, I wouldn't want to have to call the owner up and say, guess what? So-and-so blew his arm out today. Sucks, but we're not going to have him the rest of the year. And, oh, yeah, you get to pay him the rest of his $20 million salary to go sit in the clubhouse and eat potato chips while watching the game. So,
it's amazing how much just little tweak injuries, I tweaked my elbow, I tweaked my shoulder, I'm going to take the next 2 or 3 days off. I mean, it didn't happen back then.
Well, I remember Caitlin's senior year, Marv had told me specifically, you should have given her a few days off because halfway through the season, she tore a ligament in her thumb on her throwing hand. But I couldn't justify putting somebody else in when she's a captain and knows what she's doing. And even at half strength, she was better than half the players on the team. So, sometimes you just got to suck it up and deal.
Yeah.
So, second base for me, I'm going to turn into Nick here and be a homer. It's Ryan Sandberg.
And that's a great choice.
And I'm seeing what he's writing down, and I'm going to agree 100% with Nick.
Let's say Jackie Robinson.
Jackie R.
So, right. And, just fantastic player. And again, I'm going to go with people that I'm building a team that's going to win here because, right, they're going to work great with others. This guy, he changed the way everybody looked at people. And it just, gosh, when you have that, right? I didn't meet the guy, but just the outlook of how you're changing an entire world's look at things. That's huge for me.
Well,
So-
you know, and talking about Robinson, and you guys probably all know this. Do you know why Branch Rickey picked him?
No, I mean, I
No.
do.
David?
I do because I've watched the video.
David does. Why did they pick Jack?
Well, part of the reason why he picked him is because he knew that he had the character to withstand everything that he was going to face.
Yeah.
Because Branch Rickey knew what he was going to face.
Yeah, because Robinson basically said, "You want me to fight back?" He goes, "No, I want you because you're strong enough not to fight back."
Yep. He said you're going to have to stand there and take it, and you know what that means.
Yep.
So I agree. He would be my pick. I'm not going to argue that one.
Sandberg, I think, honestly, just
Yep.
it's a great choice as well. But
No, yeah.
That was my guy growing up. I wanted to be Ryan
it's
Sandberg.
got to be.
I begged Tom Senior to play me at second base because I wanted to be Ryan Sandberg, and he looked at me and he goes, "You're too slow to play second base. Go play
Yeah,
first."
So he put me, who, when I was 12, I was, I looked like I was about 8 and,
Well, and that-
4 feet tall or whatever. And
Oh,
you'll
yeah.
be fast out there.
was your vertical huge?
Mine?
No, David's.
David's
No. When you're
My
4
second-
feet, 4.5 feet tall, you're, even if you jumped of half of your body height, you're not going to have good vertical.
My second baseman, I'm telling you, this kid was probably 5 foot even, and his vertical was just, and he was so quick, just the pop of this little kid. And, I think they're built that way. That's just what it is. So
I will say, fun baseball trivia. I never got thrown out stealing, and I did steal bases.
I never got thrown out. It's funny because I was cocky as crap. I would lead off. We did it with the kids all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you can't pick me off, oh man, I'd give leads because I'll walk to the next base because I know you're gonna overthrow it. It's like, nope.
So, shortstop's going to be another tough one.
Yeah. Say
I have a definitive answer
I
as
do.
usual.
I chose one, but I'm gonna start. I guess I'm gonna go with the hometown hero. And you will never hear these words come out of my mouth because I don't pick that team, right? And Yankees.
Yeah.
But Derek Jeter.
Ultimate winner.
The legend that he's gonna be. Forever what he created. So I think I have to go with a Yankee, and it sucks, but sometimes you just got to eat it and you got to give respect where it's due. So
I'm going to go with a Cardinal and Ozzie Smith.
there you go.
I hate the Cardinals, but this will be my second Cardinal with Ozzie Smith.
Yeah.
Just ahead of his time in that position.
He was the smoothest fielder I ever saw. I remember going to a Cubs Cardinals game, and I got so pissed off at the game because Sammy hit 2 out that day.
Yeah.
It was probably, it was when they were crap. It was like 90, 91, 92, somewhere in there. And they stopped pitching to him after he hit 2 out. Ozzie went 5 for 5 that day, drove in like 6 runs. And I'm sitting in the stands going, why aren't you walking him? Stop throwing him the ball. David?
Yeah, I'm torn because it is the Yankees, but it's also the hometown guy, Kalamazoo.
Yep.
And,
Somebody your
I
brother
can,
played against.
yeah, and I can live with Derek Jeter. So I'll pick him. If nothing else, we're talking about pure merit. The guy was pretty impressive in the playoffs and had a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah.
But I will point out, being a Tigers fan, that Alan Trammell's numbers were not all that different than Derek Jeter's. And if Alan Trammell had played for the New York Yankees and not the Detroit Tigers, there would
He probably
probably
had
be
more than one World Series.
Yeah.
and there would have been a lot more national media, interest in him because of that. So
Still, for my money, best double play combination, him and Sweetly Whitaker.
Oh,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
It's hard because I wasn't. I have the banner, for
Tiger Stadium.
Tiger Stadium. The old, and everybody, oh, you're a big Tigers fan. I am. I'm a big Tigers fan. Oh, 84 Tigers.
Yeah, you were
Great. Good fucking job for them. No disrespect to anybody. I was born in 88. So you can talk about, we all understand Babe Ruth. We all none of us watch a damn game, right? but so to
I'll
me,
speak for yourself on the 84 Tigers. I'm just old enough that I can remember that. Very
yeah,
good team.
but I'm just not like, and
Yeah.
so, okay, I can go back and watch highlights, but again, there's 81 games at home I can sit here and watch. Like, I want to be in the moment with baseball. Like and I do like now, I mean, like now I've gone older and got mature. Like back when I was a kid, I can still tell you, right? Like Jake Anthony was one of our players, right? And because Jake the Snake, and he did nothing with his career, but like I mean, you look at Nick Castellanos, right? Because I followed that dude from the Whitecaps all the way up. I mean, we went to see him in Erie. We went to see him in or he passed that. I don't think he went to Toledo. He went right up to the Tigers, and
I wish you would have stayed with the Cubs.
I do too.
well, then all of a sudden, right? Like then he gets traded. So my wife and I. So if anybody wants a person traded off their team, let me know, because once we buy something of that person, like a jersey, because I finally bought my first Verlander jersey, gone, and then Castellanos, gone, right? Like my Pudge Rodriguez, my wife and I. So I had a Pudge Rodriguez. We got a plaque. Because with Tigers that we like, and both gone, right? And just like every time I get devoted to a player, just there it goes, right? And so I'm like, I gotta stop doing it. And this is a true thing. We're not talking about football, but like, right? I was a huge Matt Prater fan. How'd that work out for me now? I'm like, come on.
You were conceived, and Kirk Gibson left.
Yeah.
Basically,
This is exactly. I'm not lying to you guys. Like, if you
Yeah.
want them off your team, just let me know, because once I support that, they go. And so,
well, if they would have had Who's Your Tiger back then, Gibson was my Tiger.
oh yeah,
I loved Gibson.
yeah.
I remember listening to Tigers games on the radio with my dad. I would guess this would have been 92, 93 or whatever, or 82, 83, back when I was like under 10 years old.
Yeah.
So I remember somebody would come up and I would think, why are they booing this guy? Only to learn they're going, Lou.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mike, it was the same thing with me. I was like, wow, why are they booing him? I thought we liked him. And yeah, my dad was the same thing. He's like, no, son, they're saying Lou.
Yeah.
You go to the stadium, go to Tiger Stadium, you do the same thing. So it was really cool.
So third base.
This one's a great one for me.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna choose David Wright. What I understand, right? Like, this guy is an amazing person to be around. He impacts so many lives.
He's
Like,
a good guy.
from what I like, just knowing him, and mentioned, he's just a fantastic player, right? Like, so,
Did he win the home run derby, or he challenged for the home run derby the one year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so, we're talking about hitters. I mean, I'm building a team of hitters, as you can tell.
Yeah,
as you can tell. But because back when I was younger, right, it was the Sosa McGuire. Like, I mean, dude, if you know who Daniel Tosh is, right? Like, he talks about, he's like, give these guys the PEDs. He goes, I want to see them blow their freaking muscles out. Like, because nobody like, all right, I either want to watch a no, right? Because I want the best of the best. But like, or I want to see a ball just fucking sail. And that, like, dude, you were glued to your TVs, you were glued to your radios, because I remember all the time, is he going to hit it? And especially when it was like the last 3 weeks of baseball, and they're so close, and I'm sitting here going, oh, and then McGuire just bam, and I was like, this is huge. Like, that's what brought so much light to baseball. I mean, it just, yeah, but no. So I'm going to go David Wright, just because everything I hear about the guy, everything I've researched, and for being a fantastic player. I absolutely love watching him. Built like a freaking brick.
David, you got an answer?
Wade Boggs.
Yeah.
I
You're
was
talking
close.
about hitters. I mean, one of the best ever.
Yeah.
I was close to Boggs, but I'm gonna pull the Ernie Banks card here, because Banks played shortstop and he played first. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna pull the Ernie Banks card, and I'm gonna go with Cal Ripken, because he played shortstop and he played third. Probably better known as a shortstop, but he played third, so I'm going Ripken.
There you go. He can
I
play.
went Mike Schmidt.
Mike Schmidt's
Oh,
a great
yeah.
one.
What's up? If
Yeah, I had to, off the top of my head, it was Mike Schmidt, Wade Boggs, and George Cal.
Yeah.
So,
When you
So,
talk about power hitters, and you talked about, and of course, you're, a couple big Tiger fans. I remember going to, and I think I was in college at the time, so probably like 94, 95, going to a Tigers game at, of course, the corner.
Yeah.
And watching them play the Oakland A's, and McGuire put one over.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just remember that thing flying, and it was over the roof.
And, everybody gets impressed by that. So it's like,
I
Yeah.
went there in '87. I remember when I was a kid. They played the Oakland A's, Tigers, and McGuire and Canseco. And I think that was their rookie season.
Yeah, it was.
And man, McGuire hit a home run that day we were there.
and it's tough because,
Back before he was on roids.
Yes.
and we talk about
And he was
Royce,
still, Popeye
Yeah.
forearms. So it was.
it's so hard for me because when you're on roids, right? Sure. The problem with roids is you still have to put the effort in to get the roids to work, right?
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
you can't just shoot them and all of a sudden you have superhuman strength. Like you still have to go do it. So I mean, I don't know. It's really a tough one for me because again, I'm that guy. We're all that guy that want to see that fucking ball just
Yeah.
fly, right? And
No, I'm
it's
like
tough.
you. I want something incredible in the game I'm seeing.
Oh,
Like
heck
I
well,
even want a pitching
what's so
duel
tough-
where there's like 3 hits or.
Yeah.
one
What's
of my
so tough
favorite
for
pitchers-
me with those guys is that I think of the '98 season with Sosa and McGuire, and it was only 3 or 4 years after the season got canceled because of the strike,
Yep.
and here it is. You see, I'm a romantic baseball purist if there ever was one. I'm a historian, for crying out loud. That shouldn't be surprising, and even was when I was 20, however old back then, and I was thinking to myself at the time, man, this is just great. This is the type of stuff that I can imagine the kids in the '60s got to enjoy with Roger Maris, and here it is. You got this great home run match going on throughout the whole season, and good baseball too. I mean, not just horrible teams with one guy that can hit the ball. The Cardinals were good that year, especially, and
The Cubs won the Central that year.
yeah, exactly.
World
The
Series,
Cubs,
or not World Series, wild card.
Well,
the wild card, and they were good too. And it was just to watch that, and then the big letdown, thinking, well, there was an asterisk behind it. But then the cynical sort of realist me, even at the time, said, you know what? I mean, unfortunately, cheating's part of life, and it's part of the game. And if these guys got caught, there was probably 5 of the 9 guys in the lineup that day that might have been doing it too. And it doesn't excuse it, but I really truly am and always have been torn about this. And I've gotten in this conversation with my dad before, and he gets really, really animated about it because he's like, oh, these guys were cheaters and it was terrible what they did to the game. But
they really brought fans back.
They did.
They
People had
did.
really lost the taste for it with the strike and everything.
That's it. And I wonder how much of an issue it really is with fans. Obviously, a fan like my dad, it's a huge issue. But then how many people would really sit there and bring the pitchforks to the stadium and start, stabbing the masses if, they put Mark McGuire in the Hall of Fame, or they put Roger Clemens in the Hall of Fame, and
Or Barry
one of
Bonds.
these
Or
Barry Bonds, and these guys are back in the game coaching. And one of these days, I don't know if the Hall of Fame's necessarily going to mean what it used to. I don't think it does now, actually. But nonetheless,
If they start letting these steroid people in the Hall of Fame, they really need to let Pete Rose in the Hall of
Oh
Fame.
man,
all the way. And what are the Tigers going to do if they won the World Series with A.J. Hinch
right.
as the
Yeah.
manager?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? He got caught cheating in kind of a big way.
Yeah.
He did his act of contrition, evidently, and kissed and made up with the league. But what are the fans going to think? And Dan Dickerson, who I just can't speak highly enough, I think he's like the great voice of radio nowadays, baseball nowadays. And he had on the second Tigers spring training game, he had a nice discussion with himself about this. Jim Price, who's been his color commentator for years, Jim Price didn't make the trip down to Florida. He's got a lot of health concerns, so I think he's trying to play it safe with the coronavirus pandemic. But Dan Dickerson says, well, a lot of fans out there, and myself included, were wondering when they hired AJ Hinch, well, do we have a cheater on hand? And did he admit what he did was wrong? And is that sufficient to give him a second chance? And I believe in second chances, and we'll have to see what happens. And I, the incredible honesty of him is great. And, but that's baseball. I mean, Ty Cobb was a cheater. Ty Cobb was a gambler.
Yeah.
And if they hadn't had the huge scandal with throwing the White Sox out a couple years before, Ty Cobb might have actually been banned from the game. But the league at the time thought that, well, we're kind of in, a dark spot right now with our fans. And if we have another scandal that we have to kick the guy who's the greatest player out, this may not be good for the future of the game. So they kind of don't do that again, young man, and brushed it under the rug. So it's, I don't know.
Well, and that sucks because, he's a Hall of Famer, and Shoeless Joe is still going to go down as a cheater.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not, it isn't fair. And Pete Rose, I mean, say what you like about him. I don't know him personally, but he appears to have a lot of stuff going on in his personal life and always has. But for what he did when he was a player, wow. I mean, you got one of probably the greatest hitter, or maybe the second greatest hitter in the history of the game, and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Yeah. And you really need to judge these people on their actual playing career.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what it's about.
And the Pete Rose, it's frustrating to me because, he didn't gamble on his own team, right?
But he gambled on them to win.
He
didn't gamble against them.
Right. It's not like he had any way to cheat.
To make money.
Yeah. He literally was like, no, I'm betting for me. Like this is how much I have in myself. But it's not like he's over here. Hey guys, I gotta win. I gotta lose this one. Right.
We're gonna have 3 pitches bat today.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a prediction to make about that. Because now sports gambling is legal and pretty much everywhere in the US. I bet you in the not too distant future, there's going to be a gambling affair in one of the professional sports that makes the NBA official thing from a few years ago, or what Pete Rose did, look like child's play.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but again, Nick, we go back to the European soccer leagues. I mean, the Italian league, a huge problem in the Italian Premier League with this going on and on, to the point where they've had entire seasons records vacated from teams and really nasty stuff. And even some of the things have come out in the English Premier League, where sports gambling in Britain has been legal forever. And it's, you walk down any main street in a city in Britain and you've got the, 5 sports gambling offices right there next to all the bars. And it's made its way into the game there, and kind of everybody's hush about it, but it's the world's worst kept secret. I can imagine that happening here in a big way. And if that, let's say in 10 years from now, it comes out that something like what the Astros did a couple years ago, this time was all for gambling payoffs, right? Now we've got it may have been, but oh, wow, this is like a really bad thing. Does Pete Rose say, well, geez, I only bet on a couple games that I got caught on, and hey, it wasn't against my team. I didn't throw matches from it. Now what do you do?
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Outfield.
The entire thing?
The entire thing. And I'll go first because I have them all.
All right.
Ruth should be one. He's not.
Yep.
So I'm going, and I don't care what position they play, because I have 2 right fielders.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going with Hank Aaron.
Yep, me too.
To me, the home run champion. I'm going with possibly the greatest player ever in Willie Mays. And this third one was really between 2 players. It was between Griffey and Clemente, and I'm going to go with Clemente.
Okay.
So I'm agreeing with you with Mays.
Okay.
And I'm agreeing with you with, I'm drawing blank.
Hammer and Hank?
Hammer and Hank.
Okay.
I'm throwing in Ted Williams.
Can't go wrong there.
See, and I do have it, so I went with Hank Aaron because that's what it is. And then I'm gonna go with the guy that beat Hank Aaron because we just talked about this, right? I mean, when you have that, so I'm gonna take Barry Bonds, right?
Okay.
And then, I have Mays, Mantle, or Cobb, right? And like literally three of the
Yeah.
greatest, and just I don't know, I can fight either way, but
Yeah.
I mean, Cobb was something that was fantastic, right? I mean, and Mace, yeah, right. We can all agree, probably one of the greatest players. But I'm gonna go Cobb just because I want to be different. So, say,
I'll be a blend of what you guys picked, and I get to do it not because they're Tigers, but because they were awesome players. They happen to be Tigers. Ty Cobb,
yep,
Al Kaline,
there you
and
go.
then I will go with Ted Williams. I mean, probably the greatest hitter, or one of them in the history of the game, and right with Ty Cobb. So hey,
Hey,
hard to go wrong.
Cobb's corner is where it's at. I mean,
Yep.
Because I still remember reading stories about like Williams. He would have trouble with like pitchers, especially like he would have trouble with guys who would throw like knuckleball type pitches, and he just adapted.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to delay my swing. I'm going to, it seems to drop. I'm going to swing upward, and he was able to, find ways to hit off of these different pitchers.
The opposite field hitting of Ted Williams, I watch games nowadays where they're doing this silly shift, and I just think to myself, Ted Williams would have hit 500. He would have gone up there and he would have said, "These guys are
I don't
idiots.
understand.
You just given me half of the field to hit. I could bunt a ball and get on base," and he would if that's what it took. I just
They do it with like Rizzo as a Cubs fan.
Yeah.
They always do the shift.
Yeah, the third baseman is playing deep second base.
Yeah, and it's like learn how to freaking hit to the opposite
Yeah.
field.
that's right. It's not hard.
It's a lost art.
It's funny that we're bringing up this. My daughter, she's 5 years old. I don't know the name of the show, but it's like it's this tech show or whatever. So then there's a bad guy, and they play a baseball game, and every time that you get out or whatever, like you're off the field. So then they start doing like statistics, right? They're teaching her very young, and it's like, 9 times out of 10 they hit it to left field. So where should we put our one player, right? And it's like, and so like they only have the player stand over there, and then like they get them, and they're like, that's how they beat him, is because the percentage of time that actually happens. And it's like we're teaching these kids the shift like based off of statistics, and but so when it works, right, you look like a genius. When it fails, you again look like you had a guy bunt and get to first base that should have never even crawled to first base, right?
But see, it's like Mike said, it's a lost art, and opposite field hitting used to not be it, and it shouldn't be, because it's, you delay your swing. You got to be able to read the ball, and a lot of, you look at baseball the way it's been over the last, I don't know, probably 10 years, and the trend has been they either get up there and hit a home run or they strike out, and that's because they're all pull power hitters, or they think they're going to be, and that mindset doesn't lend to opposite field hitting and not trying to swing for the fence, but really reading the pitcher and being able to delay your swing enough that you hit it the other way.
Well, it's, I really like the switch hitting where some of these guys are, depending on who you're going against, and it's, so you can hit the field, but now it's just a matter of, can you hit that specific part of the field when you're playing that side.
I remember a game in 2019 where I was watching the highlights of Javi trying to hit left-handed, because at that point the Cubs were already ahead.
Yeah.
So, and he failed miserably, but it was fun watching it attempt to do that. No, but I sat there and I was camping last weekend with Boy Scouts, and one of the boys is he's going to be a freshman at Portage Northern Middle School or high school, and he's trying out for the baseball team. And so he and his dad were out there practicing. They just had the wiffle ball and the bat just to, practice the following the pitch and everything. And he was swinging at everything, even when the stuff was like in the dirt. And I'm like, you could be the next Javi Baez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a Tigers catcher. I mean, right?
Yeah.
Right.
If he's big enough, tell him to go try out for the Tigers. If he hits 85, they won't care. They'll put him behind the plate.
Oh yeah. Especially now. We have has-beens and every what's supposed to be a good person coming up, and I'm not looking forward to the Tigers. Like, I'll watch the game because I'm but like, I know that my season's just not going to be amazing.
It'll be their accomplishment this year should be not to lose 90 games.
Yep.
If they can only lose 89.
You and I
Yeah.
both can see that we have potential to lose over 90, and that just sucks.
Yeah, and actually 100, which isn't going to be fun. But you know what? I'm an optimist and I'm a big Tigers fan. So if they finish the season with only 89 losses, hey, we did good.
Yep.
So I have another trivia question that honestly, the only one that probably can answer this is David.
Oh, you put me on the spot.
The last left-handed thrower to play catcher in a major league game. It was in 1989.
Oh,
Left-handed
jeez.
thrower.
Left-handed thrower.
He played for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Wow.
God, I got a picture right in my mind. Right at the tip of my tongue.
I had his baseball card.
I probably do too. That's why I got a picture of him in my mind.
Great baseball name too.
I'm gonna say, yep. Who was it? I give up.
Benny DiStefano.
Oh no, that wasn't who I was thinking of. Wow,
Benny
Dave, I'm
DiStefano.
impressed. I'm impressed. That's like, telling me what you're the 494,000th brick was put down on Washington Avenue in 1924 in Lansing or something like that. I mean, that's great.
Doesn't make sense
knowledge.
with a lot of players hitting right-handed. You don't want to be a left-handed catcher.
Yeah.
This one's for you, Nick.
Oh, I got nothing.
You do. Baseball fans eat enough hot dogs in a year to stretch from what park to what park?
Oh man. Let's see.
Fenway to Qualcomm.
I'm gonna say Fenway to. Oh, I don't know. What's the park over in China? Say no. What's the Mariner Stadium?
Safeco.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go Fenway to Safeco.
David, any guess?
God.
Is it Major League only? Because I know.
Yeah.
I said
Make sure- okay.
Dime
Because I
Night
was-
at Whitecaps. Game over, dude.
Okay. And it isn't in North America, so it's not like to the
It is in
know.
North America.
Kyoto Tigers to Yankee Stadium or something. All right,
It-
I'm gonna
it-
guess.
It is in the United States even.
Okay, I'm gonna guess Safeco Field to whatever they call the stadium where the Marlins play now.
So the first stadium is a stadium known for their hot dogs. Dodger Stadium.
Dodger Stadium. Okay.
The other one is near and dear to Mike's and my heart.
Wrigley.
Wrigley Field.
Really?
Oh, well, that's 2000. What? Probably 2009.
That's only like 2,500 or 2,500 miles.
I was thinking-
25,500,000 hot dogs.
And I'm not eating part of those hot dogs. So you know me, I eat brats, so that's a
At
game.
$4 a piece, or well, $8 a piece. Wow, man, they're making a lot of money.
5,508,900 sausages.
So I would be right with you going up to the games at
Miller Park.
Wrigley North.
Yeah.
I've still not been to a Brewers game, and I have to get up there.
It's a beautiful ballpark. It really is.
Yeah.
I've only driven past it when I was up there for a friend's wedding, and it looked nice from the outside.
So I
I
got
got-
one more trivia.
Yep.
Okay, then I got a couple more for you.
All right, fantastic. Who is the only World Series MVP from a losing team?
It's a great question.
Isn't that the one? Isn't that from when the Pirates beat the Yankees?
No.
No. Okay.
You're thinking Bill Mazeroski, but no.
Well, no, but I'm thinking because they would always win by a couple of runs, and when the Yankees would win, they would like blow them out.
Oh,
So I was thinking that was
no, I have no idea. This is great.
position
Outfielder,
outfielder.
I believe.
I give up.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
David, any guesses?
Mickey Mantle.
Outfielder.
I believe he was an outfielder.
It's not Mickey Mantle then. 'cause
Well, I mean, you know what?
Actually,
Mickey
Mike
Mantle's a
is
good
right.
guess. Yeah.
Mike
was
is
gonna
right on the
guess.
Pirates Yankees.
I was gonna say.
Okay.
You're right on the Pirates
I
Yankees,
remember
but
that
do you
being the
know,
one, because the
do you know the player? You know
Dave
the player.
Winfield?
Nope. It was in 1960.
Oh, 60.
60.
Way before
Yes.
that.
No,
Bobby Richardson.
Bobby Richardson.
Okay.
The six. I thought I remembered it being that one.
It was the Mazeroski home run.
Because
Well, when you figure-
by barely winning each game, but
Yep.
when the Yankees would win, they'd win by like 10 runs.
Yeah, and you figure, I mean, the Yankees have been in what, 40 World Series, and
Yeah.
the Cubs have been in like 20. So, I mean, you're guess a Yankee or a Cub if it's
Yeah.
about the World Series, and you got a reasonably good chance of getting it right.
Yeah.
So, favorite baseball movie? I know mine. I'm wearing it.
This is always a tough one.
I still.
I love Major League. I love it.
I
do.
love Major League.
That's-
That was my freshman year in college. We watched that almost every day.
You know, I think I agree with that. Right?
I still love Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams is great too.
It's fantastic.
I still love
But
Field of
you know,
Dreams.
we're
You
talking.
put Costner in a baseball movie, I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Oh heck yeah! But we're talking about like if you're gonna pick pitchers, right? And I'm sitting here going, "Give me Bourne. That's who I'm taking." And I just watched the roast of Charlie Sheen, right? And you know he's like, "Cause I'm Ricky fucking Bourne. Let's go,
But that
Wild Thing."
That brings me quickly back to the financial talks. I remember the scene where they're in the guy's apartment and he's like, "Well, what do you make?" He's like, "I make league minimum." And yeah, back in like 90, league minimum wasn't what it is now, but
Yeah.
guarantee you was still making more than Rene Russo as a librarian.
Absolutely.
And they're making fun of it.
One of my favorite lines from that movie. You put snot on the ball. I don't have an arm like yours anymore, kid. Someday you will too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it too.
Major League.
Yeah.
David,
No, yes, I have to.
There's so many.
they're great baseball movies.
Bull Durham.
Bull Durham is
Bull- I say-
fantastic. That was I still think that's Costner's best role is Bull Durham.
Yeah.
Crash Davis.
Yeah, I think it is, but my favorite baseball movie, I think, is The Natural.
Great movie.
Great
Yeah.
movie.
Let's see. You know,
Even you
and
go to the ones like, Bad News Bears.
Great movie.
older, newer.
Older.
Older.
Come
Walter
on.
Older,
Matthau.
yeah, it's got to be the
It's
yeah.
fantastic.
The original.
Yeah.
But even like some of the ones like The Sandlot was
Fantastic
great
movie.
movie.
Say, right? And A League of Their
League of
Own.
Their Own.
Right? I mean,
League of Their Own, yeah.
you know, even
That's a real
the
good one.
The newer ones, Moneyball was great.
yeah, say the kids movies that they have out there, right? Angels in the Outfield.
Yep.
Yeah, freaking. What's the one where the kid breaks his arm?
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year, right? And so he can, and I grew up watching baseball movies, and I just absolutely I thought it was fantastic. So
Field of Dreams it's got to be my my close second.
yeah,
Yeah.
It goes beyond Costner into like, James Earl Jones
Yeah, oh,
and
yeah.
his
Yeah.
character, and Ray Liotta, Shoeless Joe, and
Well, and here's a great trivia question about Field of Dreams. Does anybody know who Terrence Mann was based off of?
I don't.
no, I can't think of it. I'm trying to think of who would have been an author back then that they would have probably based him off of, because I'm sure it's a real life author.
It's a real life author who they felt would sue them if they used his name. It was J.D. Salinger.
Oh yeah, and he was
Nick.
Yeah, honestly, I'm still gonna join you guys.
doesn't really surprise
Well,
me.
half a beer.
Salinger's a great author and an intensely private person too.
Very much.
Yeah, great author. If you ever read any of his works, I've read them all. And The Catcher in the Rye is a good one, but he had a whole series after that, the Fran and Zoe short story series, and yeah, it doesn't surprise me because his books were very much all about angst and unrequited, affection for parents and family dynamics.
A
and all
more
that.
modern
So-
day, well-known author who has a passion for baseball is Stephen King.
Yep.
Oh yeah, very much,
Yeah,
very much. Yeah.
that and rock and roll. That kind of guy.
Yeah, I thought that was because I'm like David. I love reading about history on stuff. So I was watching Field of Dreams probably 2-3 months ago, and I always hop on Wikipedia when I'm watching a movie. It's one of the reasons I hate being in the theater because I can't hop on Wikipedia in the theater. And I started reading, and that's when I learned that Terrence Mann was based off J.D. Salinger.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I was almost going to say Truman Capote.
that would have been
Oh
a good
yeah,
guess.
yeah. Another one of those authors from that time period that
Mhm.
that delved into a lot of that post-war angst and
Mhm.
changing family dynamics as the baby boomers come of age. And yeah,
Yep.
yep,
There are
interesting
just
stuff.
there are just so many good baseball movies.
There are.
I know, and
shocking.
And baseball, I mean, baseball is America. It's
Mhm.
every analogy to American culture, and it's as old as American culture in many ways, at least the American culture we recognize now. And that's why
Yeah.
baseball movies that are done right are just so good.
It is. It
Oh,
really is.
And they, you look at a movie like Field of Dreams, and it, it takes place in the heartland. It's not
Mhm.
a big city violence movie like so many of them are. It's just great.
And I think that's why it is I mean, baseball is universal in the country, whereas a lot of the other sports are very much, large city or other things
Yeah.
like that. I mean, you get things like, sure, you get like the Mighty Ducks or whatever, which is northern Minnesota and all that.
Yeah. But that's it. Baseball is one of the few things left in our culture now that starts in pre-urban America. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Yeah.
before the Civil War when most Americans were farmers and lived in small towns, and
Well,
And the
it went
country
when it
isn't
came to
that
the
way.
Industrial Revolution in the United
Yeah.
States,
Yeah.
and a lot of
That's
that,
right.
was hitting in the, like you said, post-Civil War and all that,
Yeah.
building and.
Yeah, I was talking about this with my my Michigan history class that I'm teaching right now. I did the brief history of the Detroit Tigers on what was it, Thursday night, and I told them the same thing that I always explain to my students, that baseball has this pre-Civil War history, but its heyday comes in exactly as you point out, Mike, as the nation's industrializing, and there's this whole analogy of the rules to how cities and work was organized at the time. There's a reason why the umpires look like policemen did back in the day, and there's a reason why the sport was actually originally meant to be played in the afternoon, and it was supposed to be like a analogy to a break you would take in the afternoon at work, and
Yeah.
it has this whole neat culture to it.
Look at the
So,
entire history between why left-handers are called southpaws. Because of the pitchers, the way that they would face, because they were doing, like you said, afternoon games.
yeah.
Their pitching hand was always facing toward the south.
Yeah, because the way the stadiums were orientated back then to keep the sun out of the eyes of the fielders. Yeah.
Yep.
So that leads us to a great question on afternoon games. Does anybody know the date of the first night game at Wrigley Field? The last ball to get lights.
God, it was I remember watching it. What, 1988?
It was in 1988.
And it was supposed to be like June 1st or something like that, or
It was originally scheduled for August 8th, 1988, 88. And in the third or fourth inning, mind you, the stupid things I remember because I hold on to this stuff. Sandberg had hit a home run. It was against the Phillies. Rick Sutcliffe had hit a home run. He started that game. And then the rain came.
Yeah.
And it rained them out in like the third or fourth. So no game. So the next night, 8-9-88 against the New York Mets, Mike Bielecki beat the Mets. I want to say it was 4-1 for the first night game at Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
Stupid thing ever.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, here's some trivia for you.
Yep.
Here's some trivia for you. Babe Ruth's 700th home run.
Yes.
Where was it hit?
I guess it's not Yankee Stadium.
No, it wasn't. I'll give you a hint. It's the same answer as my second trivia question.
I'm going to just be crazy and say Ebbets Field.
Good guess, but nope. So here's my second trivia question because it's the same answer. What's that? Polo Grounds? No. So second trivia question is, where did Lou Gehrig, we were talking about him earlier today. What stadium did he sit out, thus ending his Ironman streak? Same answer as Babe Ruth's 700th home run.
All right, I'm going to go with Sportsman's Park.
Good guess, but it's not it.
Fenway.
American League. Closer. You're real close. Fenway Park opened up the same day that this stadium did, which is no longer around. I'm 90 miles from there in Lansing. There's
Tiger
the
Stadium.
Tiger Stadium. You got it. Called Briggs Stadium at the time. Yep.
Interesting.
That's right.
I'm happy that in my life, I got to see a game at Tiger Stadium. I got to see a game at the old Kaminsky Park. I got to go to Wrigley Field. There's still several on my list. I need to get
Yeah.
to Fenway in Camden.
Yep, all the way. I never got to do old Comiskey. The new Comiskey, people take kind of their pot shots at it, but every time I'm on the train, I take the train to Chicago occasionally from here because it beats driving, and you can actually do it from here. It goes right by the park, and I think, man, that looks like a cool stadium. I don't understand why people, take their pot shots at it. Yeah, it's not Wrigley Field, but geez, it looks like a really cool
Just
place
because it's
to
in the
watch a
bad
game.
part of town.
Yeah, it's not in the greatest part of town, and
I
some of the
get
cheap
that.
seats aren't great view-wise.
I get that, but I mean, it's not. Look, it's not. I don't find it any worse than the neighborhood the Tiger Stadium was in, like back in the '80s
True.
when we used to go there. I mean, Corktown in Detroit's kind of gentrified a lot now, and it's not quite like it was in the '80s there. But of course, the stadium isn't there anymore either. But it doesn't seem like it'd be that bad of a place to go. I don't know.
So here's a question. Speaking of ballparks, favorite ballpark that no longer exists? You can't say Tiger Stadium.
Okay.
I have a
Be hard.
definitive answer.
It is a definitive answer.
I do.
Okay, it'd be hard because I wasn't alive when a lot of these things were played in, but judging from seeing them in old film footage and
Yep.
photos and whatnot, I would say until it was ruined in the 1970s by George Steinbrenner, Yankee Stadium. It was the epitome of an old baseball stadium.
That is a great answer. Mike, you got an answer?
I would go with Old Yankee, like he did.
See, I love, because of the way the outfield looked, the Polo Grounds. I loved that cutout
yeah.
center field.
Yeah, it looked like the Polo Grounds looked like an old like British soccer stadium.
Yeah.
All the way. That's it. That's what they look like. The roof that went over the entire seating area, which they have there because it rains all the time and they aren't going to stop a game for rain, but the fans don't want to get wet. And yeah, it had these weird dimensions because of that.
did.
I mean, 500 feet or whatever in center field, but if you were a pull hitter, you could knock a home run out with a 280-foot shot. So
Nick, you got an answer on Old Time Stadium? I can't hear you, Nick. Now I can.
Can you guys hear me now?
I can.
yep.
Oh man! So this whole time I've been talking. Way to go. Say, no, I think I agree with that. Is Old Yankee Stadium, just the design of it. It's really I think it's what baseball was back in the day, right? I mean, you guys hit it square on the head.
Yeah, the outside of it, I mean, it's just this really neat architectural feature, which baseball stadiums didn't really have at the time. Most of them were sort of ramshackle constructions, and Yankee Stadium really changed that. I mean, it was meant to look like an old kind of the Coliseum idea behind it. And you look at photos of it when it was built before they completed the seats in the outfield, and you could really get a good sense of what the architectural design behind it was. And it was really interesting. And that stadium, of course, was they used to call it the house that Ruth built, but that was not just a figure of speech. I mean, it truly was. The demand for tickets to go see Babe Ruth play was phenomenal. They had to have a stadium that, seated twice as much as other baseball stadiums at the time. And it's how popular the sport was getting. And, the Tiger Stadium, they had to do really the same thing when the team got really good. And I think it was the 1936 or 37 World Series. They constructed this temporary grandstand in the outfield that added like 8,000 or 9,000 people capacity immediately. And that was the impetus behind completing the upper deck around the whole stadium, because the team got so popular from that.
Well, go ahead,
You
Nick.
could feel, sorry, you could feel the same, right? I mean, it's still around, right? But like Wrigley Field, you know, you go to the ticket windows and they're the old boards and everything is, you know, fantastic about it. And like, I don't know, like that feeling, that nostalgia. And every time you walk into that stadium, you're just like, this is what baseball was, right? And
All the way. I think I told you guys, I mentioned it, that the one time I went there in 2014. So I actually met two German friends. One guy I had met in years earlier in Europe, actually. It's a long story. But anyways, he and his brother were taking a vacation in the United States. And they were big baseball fans, actually. I mean, I still keep in touch with him. And so he wanted to go to a Cubs game. They were going to be in Chicago. I said, great, you know, I'll buy tickets so we can sit together. And as luck would have it, you know, so my brother and I are there for the first time. We got there really early so we could walk around the whole stadium and everything. And it was the feeling of walking into Old Tiger Stadium is what it was.
Yeah.
Just an incredible feeling. And so we meet my friend, his name is Tony, and his brother, and we go and find our seats. While sitting behind us were a family that half of them were from England.
Cool.
And so here we are at Wrigley Field, sort of the absolute epitome of an American experience, and explaining baseball to two German guys who had been to a Major League Baseball game before, so they knew a little bit about the rules. And then a family sitting behind us where there was half the clan were from England, and listening to them comment on the game was absolutely priceless. My brother and I still laugh about this, because the one guy says real quietly to his, you know, you figure out by listening to people talk, evidently his daughter had married into the American family. So his son-in-law was the American side of it. And he says to his son-in-law, he says, now tell me again, what is the umpire doing behind home? What do you call that? Home plate? Well, he's calling balls and strikes. Yes, I understand that, but it just seems so arbitrary. He waves his arm and something happens.
That's awesome.
It just seems so arbitrary. And my brother and I just started laughing when we heard that. We put our heads down so the guy wouldn't see us, because I didn't want to, you know, to be embarrassed or whatever. And when we sitting on the train back to Lansing, then a couple of days later, my brother and I were just laughing about that. Like, yeah, it does seem arbitrary, doesn't it? And sometimes in a bad way.
You know, when I umpired back in my prime days, you know, David can attest for it. You know, my first punch out was, you know, oh, hey, strike three, you know, type thing. And then my punch outs just started becoming full blown, like, because I knew this girl wasn't swinging. So I'm like, we have an opportunity to have fun here, right? And full arm, full, there it is, you know. It's just.
Did you go Leslie Nielsen to Naked Gun?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to round back to this for a second. I think part of the reason that we're going to call it New Kaminsky Park, because I don't know what the hell the name is anymore, and they always name it
It
something.
changes every year, right?
That's what I was going to say. So like you guys say, hey, why do they hate Kaminsky and all that? Well, so the area now, it's a year ago or whatever, it's lower rate field, right? So lower rate field, there's this big giant arrow that points down, and you know, so like, right, and it's
the name.
You know, everybody just makes fun of that, because you're like, wow, you're a low rate, you know, you have arrows pointing down. It just, it's horrible.
Yeah,
So-
somebody missed the bad marketing cue on that one.
It was built in 90, because 90 was the last year old Kaminsky Park. And I think part of the reason it gets so much hate is during that same basic time frame, Oriole Park at Camden Yards was built.
Yep.
Jacobs Field, which is what now, Progressive Field in Cleveland, was
Cleveland.
built. Both very beautiful ballparks.
Yeah.
And they threw that up for Kaminsky, which, you know, looks like any ballpark that might have been created in the 70s or 80s.
I don't know. The outside of it, I think maybe it's because I can appreciate kind of abstract designs. And I've sat now, I don't know how, a few times on the train, it always stops not far from there because you guys have to wait for a freight train before you get into, where the train finally stops at Union Station. And on a train, I mean, that's not that far, a few minutes. So anyways, I've sat there a few times and I look at it and I can see, yeah, if I'm going to put my mind in the mind of an architect from the 90s, late 80s, I can see where they put a modern quote unquote take on Comiskey Park. It's got the same kind of it's partially brick and it has the same partially arched windows that go up and down the facade of it. I think it's the inside of it. And I remember when it opened, huge ballpark, and then you look out in the outfield and you've got like, you almost need an altitude mask if you're sitting on the seats at the very top of the outfield, and you got this very steep angle. And that part of it just looks, I mean, it doesn't look that great, but it's got to be a good place to actually watch a game in terms of the field of vision there, if you're not sitting in the nosebleed seats anyways.
Yeah, I've never seen a game there because Ryan Stork's been pretty adamant he doesn't want Cubs fans. So I'll just go to Wrigley.
Yeah, well, I bet you at the end of this season the White Sox have a better record than the Cubs.
They definitely will. That team is stacked.
Yep, and I really hate to say it because I bet you they're going to put a hurting on the Tigers when they play us. Ooh.
Anybody got World Series predictions?
Oh,
Dodgers against somebody.
Oh,
yeah.
Dodgers will go away.
Yeah, I think so.
I predict that every year.
How about the Dodgers White Sox? That's mine.
I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to say the Padres and the Yankees, and I think the Padres can win it because they are stacked.
They are stacked now. But those two teams will fight it out, and whoever wins that one will probably make the series.
Yeah, whoever comes out of the West is going to the World Series.
And I mean,
that's going to make
it good again this year. I just don't think they're going to be good enough to beat. I mean, they'll destroy, I think, the AL East, but
I think so too. And they aren't going to have probably.
I'd love to see the Rays there again. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be great to see them there again.
Yeah. I know. I hate the Yankees. I mean, I
don't hate them.
Make any attempt to hide it. They're, I don't know.
We talked earlier about, in a lot of stadiums being kind to the visiting team fans or whatever. I think you see that because there's only really a couple of really heated rivalries in baseball, with the biggest one, of course, being the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that makes a big difference. You can be a Detroit Tigers fan and go to a White Sox game and not be treated necessarily like crap because even though there's a rivalry, it's not, we hate you with the passion of 1,000 burning suns. Yeah,
and usually when one of those teams is good, the other's rotten. I mean, that's just the way it's worked out through the years. So, and, the thing about the rivalries too is, it used to be that back in the, before they added the third division into each league, the rivalries were a little bit different. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, the Tigers and the Blue Jays, for example.
Yep.
That was a pretty big rivalry. I mean, both the teams were good and it's not far. I mean, you get in your car in Detroit and be in Toronto in 4 hours if the traffic isn't too bad. So it was a pretty good rivalry for a while there. And then the way the schedule works now, it's changed those rivalries, and it's too bad. I think it's that, it's a fight not ever to have again, because I think that ship left port long ago. But interleague play, I mean, fundamentally, I think it was an interesting idea, but it totally changed the way the World Series, what it means. And then on top of that, it took so many games out of the schedule that could have been playing. Like, for example, the Tigers. I mean, they now play the Yankees 2 series.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that?
I would agree. I think interleague play was interesting when it started, but it's gone too far.
Yeah, it should have been.
I don't like the All-Star game being the winner gets. I mean, I know they wanted it to be something that the players cared about, but I don't like it being the winner gets home field advantage in the World Series. I think that's stupid.
Well, they did get rid of that the last couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah, they did, and yeah, I mean the thing is the All-Star game. a lot of people don't remember what that was started for. That was actually kind of a charity game way back when. I mean, this is before players had retirements, and most of them didn't make much money. And if I remember right, the money, the players got to take, I think, more of the ticket gates out of that All-Star game back in the day when it was played, and they had some fun for retired players that the money went into. But yeah, I don't like them changing the rules like that. And the thing is people forget that when the National League and the American League didn't ever play each other during the regular season, the World Series was a unique game for that reason, because there was no chance that those teams would play each other during the season. And there's a pretty low chance that any of the players had seen each other. And after they put the DH in the American League, you had a real significant rule difference there too. Some of these rules that they're trying to put into the game, I mean, I can understand some of them, but most of them are, I think, a solution in search of a problem. This whole idea that, well, we need to speed the game up and we need to cut down on the amount of strikeouts, and now we've decided that there's too many home runs in the game, or there's not enough home runs in the game. If it's a game that has too many strikeouts, we're going to tell the players that if you're going to do the shift, you got to have your tiptoes on the infield dirt. I mean, these are all non-existent problems, if you ask me, because number one, again, put Ted Williams up to the plate and have him face the shift. I mean, he'd love it. He'd think it was like hitting off a tee, especially with some of the, 4-inning starters that pitch nowadays. And then on top of that, the idea that the game is too slow and that you have to change these rules to turn it into something it's not, that's what concerns me.
And I think that's why when I picked Mathewson as one of my pitchers, I picked him because he was from an era where you pitched like every other day. You weren't given, a reliever after, 4 innings if you were having a bad game. You just kept pitching.
Hold that thought for a second. So for anybody on Podbean, like, subscribe, share. We're going to finish up on Zoom here in a minute. We'll get this uploaded soon. Thank you for joining us on Podbean. They limit us to 2 hours.
Okay, that's fine.
I had 3 seconds left before they cut me off.
That's fine. I'm going to get going myself soon too. But no, Mike, you're right. And you look at guys like, I mean, I hate to say it because he's done some pretty bad things to people in life, but Denny McLain, okay? I mean,
Yeah.
Say what you like about his personal life, but my God, the guy won 30 games. And part of the reason why he did that is because he was in a 4-man rotation.
Yep.
And the amount of innings he pitched that year is also equally impressive. It used to be a guy had to really be getting pounded out there before they pull him. I mean, it was just, you're the pitcher. That's what you do. You pitch 9 innings, maybe 8. If you're really getting lit up, they'll pull you. And a 4-man rotation. And the argument that's been made that, well, a 5-man rotation and having all these guys in the bullpen saves arms. Well, if there was evidence of that, great. But you haven't seen guys' careers lasting any longer.
No.
Pitchers. I mean, you haven't. So
Right.
if that's the
another
point, then
thing I think you'll never see it. I mean, you'll never see another 30-game winner with a 5-man rotation. I mean, you might get a guy who blows away and has a great year and wins 25, but you're never going to get up to the 30 just because you're only getting 35 starts a year at most.
yeah,
You're never going to see a 300-game winner again either.
no.
And like this whole they're bringing, I mean, dude, when did a middle relief pitcher start becoming a thing? So I mean, now you're just, hey, 1/3 of the game's you, 1/3 of the game, 1/3 of the game, and it's just,
Yeah, that's
don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting here looking at we look at the Tigers, right? And we had some of the greatest pitchers that have come through the Tigers. And then all of a sudden, we get Phil Choke, right? And it's so by the time you've lost every fan in the world, because nobody wants to watch it because games on the line.
Yeah, and I can think of I was listening to a spring training game. I think it was last weekend or 2 weekends ago, and they're talking about Matthew Boyd, about how, it's a good thing that he'll be a 5-inning starter. I'm like, 5-inning starter is a good thing? Really? I mean,
7-inning starter is a good thing.
Yeah. Or how about an 8-inning starter? And, wow, imagine that.
A guy who can throw 115, 120 pitches, not a guy who can throw 75 to 80.
Yeah, and I
ERA in the 80s got you sent down.
Yeah, now that would be okay. And I understand that these guys are, $20 million arm on the field. You got to keep an eye on it. But when I watch a game, I'm always tempted to like morph into the television set, go into the dugout, grab the pitch count out of the pitching coach's hand and like throw it as far as I can and say, guess what? Go out there and ask him. Or when he comes off the field after the 7th inning, how's the arm feeling? I see you're still throwing 100 miles an hour. Yeah, good to go for another inning? Yes, because how many times do you see them pull the guy because his pitch count reached 110? And, then they put the middle reliever in. And sure enough, a 2-run lead turns into a 3-run deficit because the guy walked the first 2 batters he faced, which is almost always a recipe for disaster.
What always made NL
It started
baseball
bugging me.
interesting is you would make around that 6th, 7th inning, you start making decisions of your pitcher based on if his batting turn was coming up in the lineup and where you were in the game.
That's
And
right.
you didn't, you pulled him if you were, it was a close game or you were behind because you wanted to put that extra hitter in there at that point because you didn't want to, because, unfortunately, most pitchers are,
Not hitters.
not hitters. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
see,
you get
that's
some-
the National League rules, which is how the game should be played.
Oh, I would
That
agree.
decision, the rules of the game, the nature of the game kind of made that decision for the manager. And now it's, get your list out and it's like, picking another guy to go wait on somebody at the counter in a store. Well, I think he'll be good at this. Put him in. And
Reminds me of the Practical Jokers episode where they're the optometrist and dealing with the customer, tagging in
Yep.
different guys.
yeah. So, all right, well, guys, I'm gonna head out myself. I got a couple things I got to do. So,
We're going to wrap it up too.
okay, it's been
It was
fun.
good having you, David. Always
Yeah, great.
fun.
Of course.
Great to see you,
Absolutely.
David. I haven't seen you in probably 20-some years.
Yeah, it's probably been that long, Mike. It is. Good seeing you. One of these days, this world will be back to we'll actually be able to meet in person. How cool would that be?
We should go see a baseball game.
We should.
Yeah, we should. We should. Hey, I've got my first COVID vaccine dose on Monday afternoon. So
I got mine a couple of weeks ago, and I got my second dose coming up in 2 weeks.
Nice.
good for you. Good for you. So that's a good sign, even if people like me are able to get it now.
Yep.
Hey, hopefully
So-
we'll be back to baseball games. Come
You
over to
count as
Lansing.
an
We'll go to
essential worker,
London.
right? Because of being a teacher.
I don't know. The college told us to fill stuff out on the Ingham County Health Department website, and I kind of made sure I didn't make it look like I was dying or an essential worker because I thought, people like my mom need to get the vaccine more than I do, and I'm working from home. I mean, and I will be until.
Well, that's
The
what I
college
kind of
tells
did.
us
Until
to
my
come
parents
back.
were both vaccinated, I really didn't try to use my essential worker status.
Yeah, that's it because they needed it more than me. I mean, they're
I-
70-some years old, and thankfully they got it. And now I think most of the people over the age of 60 that wanted have gotten it. So yeah, I'm on the list now on Monday afternoon. So good for me. All right, guys. Hey,
I take care. Hey,
Yep.
before you take off, David,
yeah,
real quick, we're gonna wrap it up. So everybody, I need you to like, subscribe, share. I want to give a huge shout out to Ailbird. Great beer. Thank you so much for today's sponsor. Baseball's been fun. To all of our guests, David, thanks for joining us. Mike, thanks for coming to the
betcha, of course.
the office there, and I hope you guys enjoyed the episode.
If you guys
All
were
right.
closer, I'd be here a lot more often.
All right, everybody take care and we'll see you
All right,
guys
you
next
guys.
time.
You betcha. Be well. Bye bye.
Bye.